Okay, folks, let's talk about more of the smokescreen tactics and the historical traits that come around these times of funding proposals. So before we get into that, folks, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help this little tiny channel grow more. Drop a like if you can, support wherever possible. So moving forward, as you can see, all of a sudden, the proposals have kicked up. And these are like meaningless proposals that more or less don't change anything, or they don't propose anything that is too rash. It doesn't put anything into play. It's just spam. And this happens every single time we get close to the funding rounds. And the funding rounds are at most 20 days away from dropping before those three proposals are going to go up for funding again. This always happens every time, and it's the best way for them to confuse the active set for those who are not really that involved and try to just vote as best as they can to please the community to gain voting power. Now, like I was saying, this is all part of the bigger smokescreen that is consistently used, and at first, going back 3 funding rounds, to me, it wasn't a coincidence. It didn't ever click in my mind. The second time I was like, this is a bit of a coincidence. The third time I was like, this is absolutely happening every time we get to funding. Other things that happen around the time of funding is station goes down. And the reason why it keeps going down every time, and just take a pause here, it's simply because of these upgrades we've agreed to every time before the funding goes live, right? So we upgrade, everything goes out of sync apart from hexagon stuff, because that's totally in the upgrades every time because of the backdoor deals. It's as simple as that. Our systems go down, and that prevents everybody from voting throughout the period of funding. So I think I've got to the bottom of this now as to why this keeps happening and why station consistently goes down around the time of funding. It's all far more than a coincidence. These things don't happen 4 times in a row, and it looks like they're going for a 4th time. So it wouldn't surprise me, right, if this upgrade does go through, and it's going to be a no from me on this basis, because it is going to prevent everybody from voting fairly once again through the station system that I'm using. And the reason why I use this is the system that we trust. This is the system, me as a we, that we trust, right? For our projects, this is what we trust. We would not put Armonomics for everything. I wouldn't attach my ledgers to anything that wasn't this system, period. And I'm one of the biggest builders in this sector, with one of the largest NFT projects, with the largest NFT transaction sale on Miata, and I simply would not utilize that system that has been put in place because I just don't know if someone has pulled a Terra bot, and you don't know if they're just waiting for all the prices to shoot up and then sting the trap, because this could be a big time player. People waited a long time to pull the rug out from under Luna. Why would they not do that again? Why would that not be a threat? The biggest difference is us as a blockchain, we are the threat. If Lunc survives, Luna is not going to do too well. For all best intent purposes, from where they're sitting, they possibly could die. So only one of us is realistically going to come out on top. But that's always been the consistent thought. Now I'm going to explain something that I've been thinking. We are an asset to TFL as a community. Everything we do, the active set, we're an asset. If we start behaving like an asset, if we start behaving ourselves and stop doing all of this silly stuff, actually support the right people, get the systems put in place, maybe we'll get treated better. Maybe we will get spoken to like adults instead of children that go around claiming money in other wallets, acting like children, saying, no, we want to burn it, throw all of our toys out of the pram. We're just not going to get any attention. We're going to be ignored in the same way you would ignore a child throwing a tantrum. It's as simple as that. So going back to this whole smokescreen thing, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 proposals up. 10 proposals. This is only going to increase. So as you can see from the title of the video, I am proposing we up, and hear me out here, I believe we should up the cost for proposals right now to 5 million LUNC minimum. Minimum. People will have to stop and think, right? These scam things, we need to make it so the loss is greater than what they can possibly gain. Clearly, they're gaining, right? Clearly, these things work. So we need to up the proposal amount for the simple fact that it will stop all of this. It will make people think. It will stop people being able to spam things so easily, because instead you're losing 5 mil LUNC. If it doesn't reach quorum as a pass, you're not getting your funds back, okay? It's as simple as that. If it doesn't reach quorum, you don't get your funds back, right? So either way, we've got to root this stuff out once again at its core. And this is just a simple parameter change proposal, pretty similar to this silly thing here that no one's going to agree to because it's just silly. We're a community that is built on burning, right? If burning is done correctly, we get, for example, right, the dynamic smart tax system, right, which is down here at the bottom. We get this in place, you'll solve all of the burn tax problems, right? You'll have a Goldilocks system. We need to turn it back down to 0 to try and get incentive in. You create incentives with that dynamic module. But you bring an incentive for people to actually build. It's the same as equalizing the playing field. Instead of people having the opportunity, and I don't blame people for wanting to get 100% of the rewards, right? You're a human and you've got your own lives to look after. Of course, you're going to choose to do that. But if there's an equalized playing field where you've only got the choice to support, right, people who are building, then you're probably going to support the people who are building for the simple fact that they're going to get your investment to where you want it to be. And this is what everything's about. There's a huge stigma around DK because of what happened. You know, the way he went about everything has made it 100 times worse instead of going at it head on, accepting what happened, taking responsibility. But before all of that, I respect him, right? He was a guy, he had a vision, and he had this belief that he could build a chain in the DeFi sector and it would become this great thing. And he did that on a vision. He was a man with nothing but a vision. And that's the same as us here with this expedition, this whole route we're taking. And the most beautiful thing I think about this whole thing is this is just the start. This is to get a solid foundation that becomes self-serving. It reduces all of the costs and it streamlines everything. We can then move to getting a decent L2 team that are dedicated to performing upgrades. There's so many things we need as a blockchain. For example, right, there's such a big dispute over governance. This whole idea of governance is not law. Well, we have a documentation system. Okay, this can literally just be cloned as it is, and we can add or remove as we feel as a community it should be. And you would do that, you know how, for a governance proposal, and you could literally code it in. So you could do it as if it was a software change proposal. Instead, it would be a Terra docs submit proposal. It's real simple stuff. And this way, right, in the governance section, you could put governance is law. You could literally do that. And it really comes down to those simple things of doing stuff like that. Another thing I've seen recently is, wouldn't it be good for all validators just to automatically abstain? And we actually, at the beginning of all of everything, all nodes used to actually do that. And it's actually very dangerous because it pushes these spam ones and scam proposals up to quorum or close to quorum sometimes. And it was getting a bit dangerous because then what can actually happen is a very small group of people could get together and get something pushed through. It doesn't take much. And there was such a big risk, right, with the amount of LUNC that's readily available. Another thing a lot of people get misconcepted is this idea that more coins staked is good. It is if we have a booming system, but we don't. We've got so many people staked, every time somebody else joins, it dilutes the amount that is there for everybody. So it gets split out more. The more people that come on board, the smaller everybody's commission gets. The idea of creating incentives around LUNC and building stuff is to get movement of coins, get things cycling around. You give a little, you get a little. You give a little, you get a little. This is the idea of play to earn games. And, you know, casinos for all intent and purposes, like I said, horrible things. But at the end of the day, most Indian reservations in America are actually built on casinos because they're legal and someone else is just going to capitalize on that. So I totally agree with all of these different projects wanting to build. It's knowing when to build and when to build it, because like I said, we've had so many people come forward, so many different dexes, so many different ideas, and they've all ended up in shambles. And we're in this continuous downtrend. But getting back on point, getting back on target, I am going to be putting up a parameter change proposal to raise the amount it costs to put a proposal up. I think it's a pretty simple one. It's not something that's highly complicated for everybody to understand, and the reason behind it is quite obvious. I think we could get good support on this, and it's important to try and adapt as best as we can, especially with these sort of tactics being played. It's so important. We could just put a stop to it. It really is as simple as that. 5 million LUNC currently is a lot of LUNC to lose. When this limit was set, the price was at least 7-8 times higher at that point. So we've come down a long way in price since then. I hope you liked the previous videos today. There's a lot of information that we need to start just taking straight on at the moment. It's going to be a real tough month. There's going to be a lot going on, and there's going to be a lot of emotion swaying left and right, and people trying to divide this community down and get people to take sides. There is only one side, and that is getting this blockchain on its feet, getting it streamlined, getting the running costs reduced as much as possible, remove all of the dead weight, remove the parasites, decentralize the sector so we can all move forward together. I hate this misinformation sort of situation where it's not so much misinformation, the withholding of information. People try not to tell you stuff, and they try to cushion you into things like your children and you can't handle the truth. And it's worse that people lie to you, thinking that the lie is because it's easier than them telling you the truth right now. And this whole idea of moving that roadblock consistently, like behind as you move forward, they get you to where you need to be over a long period of time of just oppression, ups and downs, not really knowing what's going on. So as to everything that's going on here, it's going to be a lot of no's coming out from our validator over the next couple of days on a lot of this stuff, because a lot of it's just spam. It's absolutely useless. It's just one of those ones now where I'm so focused and so happy that the community want to support the visionary expedition plan, because if anybody knows, you can go back through Commonwealth, you can go through the Agora. This isn't something that was drummed up in 5 minutes. Okay, I brought this up in a whole proposal a long time ago, pretty much stating that we needed to take everything that the community wanted and get everything together and actually get things done that the community can see, that investors can see, that people who speculate on crypto can see, the mass media can see, because that's where our strengths lie. Is when everybody starts talking about us. Oh, the price is going to go up. Oh, they're doing this. Oh, they decentralized that. New dynamic tax, new burns, all of these amazing things that they can see, they can report on, instead of just getting, oh, it's going to be a really good software upgrade this month again. And that's it. That's like literally it. Whereas these other things we do can really feed the machine, so to speak, and fuel the mass media into that situation we was in before, when we were nothing but the talk of the town. Absolutely nothing. There's something I want you all to understand right now. There is no difference between us and any other chain as for how we stand and what we stand for, okay? They want us divided. They want to split out into groups. We're easier to target. We must stay as strong as we can this month. Okay, when these proposals go up, we need to make some serious decisions as a community, and then we need to ensure that we're being heard as a community by all of the validators that are going to vote, and simply saying to them, this is not what we want. If obviously you want to keep paying $250,000 every 3 months and get nothing, be my guest. but I'm guessing a lot of you don't want that. It's just a guess, but I'm guessing no one wants to keep going through this. So I covered this in my video earlier today. As you can see, this is the time Terra Rebels were in play, and it's just downtrend. And then it's just got worse, and it's just, you can just see the life force being sucked out of it by all of these people and all of these bad decisions, and it's horrible. I'm hoping you're much better informed going into this. I hope you're now seeing all of these different people for the monsters that they are. They are tearing this blockchain apart to benefit their own campaigns, their own systems, their own dexes. LUNC is nothing but a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone to wherever they're going to get to. We can put a stop to it as a community. Folks, let me know what you think about all this smokescreen stuff. Let me know what you're doing this weekend. Other than that, just stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.